The Skydivers is a 1963 drama about love, betrayal, and murder set against the backdrop of recreational skydiving. This film was directed by Coleman Francis, who would create a trifecta of films that would find a second life in the 1990s due to a janitor and two robots. The Skydivers stars Tony Cardoza, Kevin Casey, Marcia and Eric Tomlin. At a small-town skydiving school, Harry struggles to make ends meet. He's grown distant from his wife Beth, even as he's entering the final days of an affair with Susie. Harry just fired a mechanic, so his old friend Joe is coming by to help out. Frankie the mechanic has it out with Harry, not because of his job, but because Frankie wants Susie all to himself. Meanwhile, Joe is warming up to Beth real fast. Can Harry save his school? Can Harry and Beth save their marriage? Who is headed for a fall? Skydivers was the first film that Crown International Pictures would finance production of, and it's easy to guess why. Coleman's film was ahead of the curve. The pastime of recreational skydiving was still new. At the time of the film's release, the first skydiving school in the United States was only 4 years old. Meanwhile, it wouldn't be until 1969 when Hollywood would shine a spotlight on skydiving, with John Frankenheimer's The Gypsy Moths, starring Burt Lancaster and Gene Hackman. So 1963's The Skydivers offered a novel experience to drive-in audiences. However, it offered little else. It's too easy to talk about how bad this movie is, and by bad, I mean how short it comes to meeting the standards that even B-movies of the 50s typically met. It's a movie filmed outside of Hollywood, without any major studio-level professionals or resources, and even on that curve, it's still below grade. Anybody looking to watch a, quote, good movie is going to be disappointed with this one. But Skydivers has a lot of what fans of, quote, bad movies are looking for. Awkward line deliveries, cliched characters, cheap sets and costumes way too much day for night, editing that distracts and occasionally baffles, all kinds of artistic choices that grabs the audience's attention because the choices seem so wrong. But if the filmmakers were any closer to doing it right, the audience would find that ordinary, even boring. And if the filmmakers acted like they were in on the joke, the audience might feel disrespected, or at least think the filmmakers were just being lazy. But because the film presents itself so earnestly, the audience can see the gulf between what the film was trying to be and what it ended up becoming, and they enjoyed a distance. Skydiver's second life would begin on August 27, 1994, as the featured experiment on an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000, which frequently mined for comedy gold in culturally discarded films.
Hey, here's a candy bar.
Excuse me, we're filming a James Bond movie here. Could you move, please?
The episode was so well received that the other two films that Coleman Francis directed would get the MST3K treatment as well. Coleman Francis appeared on screen in Hollywood B-movies through the 40s and 50s, mostly bit parts. In 1959, he struck up a partnership with Anthony Cardoza, a war veteran and factory welder that would produce Francis's 3 films: 1961's Beast of Yucca Flats, Skydivers in 1963, and 1966's Red Zone Cuba, when Francis also played one of the lead characters. After their partnership dissolved, Coleman Francis would return to Hollywood obscurity. He died in 1973, 2 decades before his films would be rediscovered. There is one intentionally enjoyable part of the film. Guitarist Jimmy Bryant has a couple of songs on the soundtrack and an on-screen performance at the climactic night jump dance party. Jimmy Bryant was a major inspiration to the West Coast rockabilly sound, particularly on his collaborations with pedal steel guitarist Speedy West. Combining the influences of Django Reinhardt and the country gospel that he was raised on, Jimmy Bryant is considered one of the first masters of the Fender Telecaster. Besides the music, Skydivers delivers 7 sky jumps. They're not at the level of James Bond Spectacular, but they are a break from the soap opera that the movie is trying to deliver. And yes, at least one of those jumps go wrong. There's also people getting shot at from small craft airplanes. That's kind of a Coleman Francis trademark. As the jilted lover, it's left to Marcia to bring the sexual energy for the first hour of the film. At minute 55, that dance party manages to bring some heat, along with some weird cameos. The depiction of skydiving in movies has definitely moved beyond what you can see in the Skydivers, but the jumps here are real, pre-CGI jumps of some historical value. that just happened to be latched onto a movie from the director that some have labeled the real worst director ever. But even under those conditions, this movie can be enjoyed with tongue-in-cheek and with a couple of friends.
What funny jumpers you are!